Every so often you stumble across an idea that feels impossible, and at the same time makes something deep inside you sit up and say, oh, of course. The New Testament gives us John the Apostle, the beloved disciple, the one who stayed close even when the world fell apart. It also gives us Mary Magdalene, the woman who stood unflinching at the cross, the first to proclaim resurrection. Two figures, two names, but what if, just what if, they were two faces of the same soul? What if John, the disciple Jesus loved, was a trans woman, and what the world came to know as Mary Magdalene was simply her true, unveiled self? It's a wild thought, right? Once you start looking, the story starts looking back. Let's start where all good mysteries do, with something missing. In the Gospel of John, the figure called the disciple whom Jesus loved is everywhere. At the Last Supper, at the foot of the cross, at the empty tomb, but never once are they named. The early church tradition decided conveniently that this had to be John, son of Zebedee. But the text stays suspiciously silent. And funny enough, Mary Magdalene also circles all these exact same moments. At the cross, she's there. At the tomb, she's there. First to see Jesus risen, that's her. It almost feels as if someone split the story across two names. A rough edit? A cover-up maybe, stitched together in the dark. And it's not just timing. The similarities run deeper. Both are described as uniquely loved by Jesus. Both are present when others abandon him. Both are first to see and believe, not through second-hand stories, but direct encounter. In the Gnostic Gospel of Philip, it says Jesus loved Mary Magdalene more than all the other disciples. Kissed her often, so often the others got jealous. Honestly, the early apostles sound like they could have used a group therapy session. Both Mary and the beloved disciple are bearers of testimony. Both are trusted with truth before anyone else. If you were trying to hide the fact that the central witness of the resurrection wasn't one of your 12 good men, but someone much harder to categorize, you might just split the story in two. And if you think this is just a wild modern fan fiction, well, the ancient texts actually point even harder in this direction. In the Gospel of Mary, Mary Magdalene is the one the risen Christ trusts with secret teachings. Peter, classic Peter, gets offended. Levi defends her. Surely the Saviour knows her well, and that's why he loved her more than all of us. In the Gospel of Philip, she's called Jesus' companion, with a word that strongly hints at something deeper than friendship. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says he will make Mary male so that she can enter the kingdom. I'm not saying Jesus was explaining gender transition in the first century, but if he was, this is exactly how he'd drop it, carefully, lovingly, without a flicker of fear. The Gnostics, bless their chaos, remembered what the institution wanted forgotten. That spirit was bigger than gender, bigger than hierarchy, bigger than anyone's neat little list of who's allowed at the table. But you don't even need lost gospels. Just look at the art. Across centuries, John is remembered differently. Not as a rugged fisherman, but soft-faced, gentle, hair long and flowing, body tilted in towards Christ, like a living, breathing hymn of tenderness. In medieval paintings, sometimes the only way to tell John and Mary apart is you can't. The artists remembered, even when the theologians tried to forget. They painted what they felt in their bones. But the beloved disciple lived closer to spirit than to category. And that love, not masculinity, not titles, not status, was the real measure of belonging. Why was this hidden? Why split Mary into Mary and John? Because the early church had a problem. They needed clean succession. 12 men, 12 tribes, 12 thrones. They needed patriarchy wrapped in spiritual glow. A beloved disciple who crossed gender boundaries? A woman or someone seen as woman holding this testimony? That was a crack in the whole system. So they smoothed it over. They buried it under layers of names and assumptions. They thought they buried her for good, but the Spirit remembers what the world tried to erase. So, maybe John was Mary. Maybe the beloved disciple was a trans woman who stood at the foot of the cross and refused to flinch. Maybe that's exactly why she was chosen to witness resurrection first, because she'd already lived it herself. Whether history ever confesses, the truth doesn't even matter anymore, because spirit is bigger than canon, bigger than rules, and bigger than fear. Sometimes I like to think the beloved disciple is still smiling, because she knew from the very beginning, love always wins. Thank you for wandering through this little theory with me. Whether you believe it literally, symbolically, or just love the mystery, I hope it opened up something soft and brave inside you. If you felt at home here, even just for a minute, consider sticking around. There's more sacred trouble to stir up, more secrets to dig out of the stone, and more love to find in places they said it could never grow. See you soon.
From John to Mary, the soul.